Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. Today is Saturday, March 13th, 2021. Welcome, everybody. Glad you guys made it. I'm sorry I was really late in uploading kind of like the schedule thing, like the placeholder for the live stream today. It just kind of I lost track of it. I'm a little bit tired today. Went on a very long walk, played at two of the girls' favorite parks today. Logged a total of 5 miles of walking, my wife and I. We tracked it to get to these two parks, and then didn't count walking around in the parks, of course, but we did that. So a lot of walking, pushing the stroller. My wife pushed the stroller the entire time, so she's got quite a workout. The girls are exhausted. I'm a little exhausted. We got back maybe 30 minutes ago, but yeah, I was getting all ready, and I was like, oh, just kind of easing in, refreshed my cup of coffee for today, and I was like, oh, I'm all ready. And then I was like, oh no, I totally forgot to put up the thumbnail for the live stream. So I put up last second, and I don't know what the thumbnail default is when I don't upload a specific thumbnail, but that's what it looks like when I forget to upload a thumbnail. But glad you guys are here. Glad you guys made it. Before we get started today, let's say hi to everyone listening on the podcast version. Hope you guys are having a good run or a good commute today. And everyone watching this on YouTube after the fact, welcome. So glad to have you guys here as well. Jeff Elliott was the first one here early today. Says, "Yay! Glad you made it." You must have clicked on it as soon as I posted it, because I think this timestamp on this says 2:56, and he says he's first, which I think you definitely were, and he did just happen to hit refresh at the right time. Yeah, Martha was here not long after that too, and then Rob Benz found, man, you guys are fast. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. And Sarah's like, yeah, I was refreshing a few times looking for the title. Glad we're still on for today. Yeah. Very glad to make it here. Ines says, hi, kofuzi and everybody. Back on the trails with Pip today in a windy on back to the Bothy. I think I'm saying that right, including a bit on the beach. I saw the photos today. I was glad to see Pip back out there again. And I was wondering, there's a couple of times where Pip's had to take a couple of days break. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what Pip's running history is like. Is she getting overtrained? Is this an overuse injury? So it's kind of, but then I was like, no, I think the other time before, her paw was getting just raw from some of the winter conditions or something like that. So that's just what I was wondering about. I was like, can dogs get overuse injuries? I actually don't know the answer to that. I feel like, especially a dog like Pip, like a shepherd, I think they're still built in such a way where they just are, whatever a human can throw at them, they could easily handle, I would think, but I actually don't know the answer to that. It kind of reminds me of I was listening to the news this morning, and they were saying in the U.S. they're going to start allowing more different types of healthcare providers to administer COVID vaccine shots. One of the category being veterinarians, and so I was like, oh man, I'm in good with our veterinarian. Our dog has been very expensive to care for over the years. He's very prone to ear infections because he's got giant ears. And we also board him at the vet, and it's not cheap. And so yeah, we're I mean, every time I call up, I just say, hi, I'm calling for my dog Buddy. And they're like, oh, Buddy Co. So they know, I mean, how many dogs? There got to be a lot of dogs named Buddy, but they're like, when I call about my dog Buddy, they know who I'm talking about. So I'm like, come on, maybe my vet can come through, and I'll be like, I got to go to the vet today to get a shot. Just sounds like a very weird sentence to say. Yeah, I don't think that's actually going to happen, but I'm glad that there's going to be enough supply that a potentially weird situation like your vet calling you to get a vaccine shot, like a human shot, it's a very that amuses me in a lot of good ways. Oh, and by the way, speaking of COVID stuff and vaccines, where's my coffee? This morning I was going to sleep in because I didn't have a video plan for today, and I actually don't have any. I guess I could have worked a little bit on the next day's footage just to kind of get ahead on things, but I was like, no, I'm going to try and sleep in, get some rest. I got a race coming up in a week, a virtual race, but a race. And I was going to sleep till 5:30. But at 5 o'clock, my eyes opened up, and I was like, I got to try to get Fauci. So I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and I was like, I Googled how interview request Dr. Fauci. And I got a link on the NIH website. So for media requests and stuff. So I sent an email. I mean, I sent it at 5 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday. So I don't expect a response right away. because they have very many other things. But I guess like the press room should, that's their job. They should be, whoever's at that email address should be responding to that, hopefully relatively quickly. But maybe they have to coordinate with the doctor about it. But I've done it. All I can do is say no, or I could get no response at all. In either event, I'm at the same place I am now, Fauci-less. But yeah, if we can get Fauci, I'm going to keep trying. I'm going to just keep emailing him at the NIH and see if I can reach him, because I think it'd be fun. But the thing is, like he had a really nice interview with Stephen Colbert the other day. I was just watching clips of it this morning after I sent the email. It's yeah, I like that guy. I like that guy a lot. All right. Sorry, I got distracted today. But I guess it's okay today. We don't have no game today. Just checking in with you guys, seeing how your long runs were today and seeing how you guys are doing. JC says, hello, all 13-mile run this morning and second COVID vaccine this afternoon. Now that's a great Saturday. A long run in the morning and the second vaccine shot in the afternoon. Does it get any better than that? Yeah, pretty nice little Saturday, JC says. Yeah, it doesn't get better than that. Awesome. Jana says, hi, everyone. Been very tired this week, so I decided to move my Sunday morning long run to the afternoon. And as a result, I got to enjoy the live stream today. Awesome. Very cool. Very, very cool. Good to have you here. Stevie76 says, is JLo on Strava? I heard she's looking for a new running partner. That's funny. Awesome. Martha says, it seems like the kofuzi Strava crew is hitting a lot of wind today all over the US and the UK and Germany. Yeah, it was. I had a lot more wind today than I was expecting. I had a hard workout this morning, but it wasn't as bad as on Thursday for my workout Thursday. But yeah, I feel we're about to get some weather. I don't think tomorrow, but it's starting to move in already. The wind is coming off the lake and it's chilly. Otherwise, like temperature wise, it's warm here, but I feel a change coming. I've also watched the weather forecast, so I do know that a change is coming, but I can also feel it. I'm not like some sort of like weather savant or anything. Recycle on Wednesday says, hi, everyone. What's going on? Sue-Ann says, happy Saturday, everyone. Just came in from an easy 9-miler. Had a lunch and ready for the live stream. Awesome. Very cool. All right, guys. Leona's just going to be mostly listening today. Needs to stretch and other maintenance stuff. That's great. That's a great way to do it. I would like to figure out a way that I can also stretch maybe and do this while doing the live stream. I don't know how to do the logistics of that. I don't think I could do it in here. There's just not enough space in here, but I got some thoughts. It'll take some time to kind of execute on it, but maybe we could do that. I think that'd be nice. I still also do want to do like I'd love to do like a Zwift session, like an easy, what do they call it? Spin, like an easy like hour on the bike and like do live stream at the same time. I think that'd be fun. All right. Oh, okay. So Ina says it's a Chicago photo. Good on the thumbnail today. Oh, okay. I forgot what it was going to be. Brendan Cam is in here. What's going on, Brendan? It says, oh, well, hello there. Awesome. Brendan, I was thinking about you the other day because I was like, what was it, yesterday? But I was thinking about like, I think a funny video to make would be like, because for a while I was making a lot of like top 5 videos when I didn't have an idea of like what to make a video about. I think let's just make a whole bunch of top 5 videos just for fun. And I was thinking a funny video to make would be like make a my top 5 favorite Canadians, or like top 5 favorite Canadian. How do I make it like very, very weird? I don't want to make it like all Canadians of all time, but I don't want to make it just top 5 Canadian YouTubers. I'm trying to think if I can name 5 Canadian YouTubers. I think I could probably do 5 Canadian YouTubers. Yeah, I think I could do 5 Canadian YouTubers that I enjoy watching. But I don't know if I want to make it broader than that or not. That's a video that's coming up. I'm going to do that. I think that's fun. I think that'll be a fun one. But I was thinking about you, Brendan. All right. Martha says she did an experiment because she has an old Garmin 35 and a new one thanks to Chris. Yeah, awesome. You guys are great. They put one on each wrist to see if the heart rate was the same. It took a while for the new one, but they now show the same. There you go. Awesome. See, I like tests. I like doing the test, like wearing 2 things on the arms. It's silly sometimes, and it's a little bit excessive, but I mean, there's only one way to find out some of this stuff. Sarah Mim says, kofuzi, what brand roast of coffee is your go-to on average? What am I having now? Right now, I'm having that what was it? It's the Unicorn Blood by Dark Matter Roasting. Dark Matter is a local brewing company. They have a couple of shops, but they're a local roaster. I said brewer, but they're a local roaster. And this one on the description it wasn't so much, I think this was the fanciest way I've ever seen of saying that it's not a single origin coffee. But it was saying, rather than focusing on the location of the coffee, they wanted to highlight the farmer's growing technique. And it's a Central American coffee. So I think it's a blend of different regions, possibly from Central America. But those are generally my favorite kinds of coffee anyway. I feel like they're not usually too nuanced for me. If there's too nuanced, I won't get it, and it just kind of tastes a little bit muddled. But it's a straightforward, like, coffee flavor. That's just kind of how I like it. So I do really enjoy this one. And that's one that's really tasty that I've been enjoying lately. Typically, I will say that about half my coffee is like K-Cups. So Green Mountain, that brand. No. I've been doing Solimo, the Amazon like competitor to it, and there's like just like a dark coffee something. I don't even know what it's called. So that's definitely the quantity over quality play. And then I've done Solimo like their ground coffee before too, to put in the AeroPress. It's pretty good. I mean, like, price per pound, like, for, again, quantity over quality is good. But to put that all into context, some of my favorite coffee is Starbucks Christmas Blend. So, like, there goes my credibility as being a coffee reviewer, I guess. But I do like that one quite a bit as well. People tease me because I like that. I don't know why. It's delicious. All right. Lucas Lilly says, sorry, mouse froze for a second here. It does that. Lucas Lilly says, tomorrow I'm going for my second half marathon time trial, guys. All right. Good luck, Lucas. Go get it. And IQZ says, hey, I'll usually watch these on replay by catching this live runs. Well, welcome. Glad to have you here. I just feel like I've stepped through the fourth wall. Checking in from Melbourne. It's my day off, so no run. Awesome. Well, hope you're having a great rest day. And yeah, welcome here. It's great. I think it's better when people are here live. I totally understand. Well, especially with time zones and stuff, people, it might not be at a convenient time, but I think it's a lot better. I love interacting with you guys. All right. Martha says, a Swift mukbang at the same time. I mean, I suppose that could happen. There's a lot. I mean, I feel like the bike is easy. I mean, like, I don't know that I could do that while running, like if I did it on a treadmill, but I think it's something that I could do on a bike. Just because it's easier to eat on a bike. I don't know if I could do like noodles or anything like that, but like, I'm pretty sure I could eat like a Jimmy John sandwich while I was on a bike. I wouldn't be biking very hard or cycling very hard, but I'm pretty sure I could do that. That'd be fun. Yeah, and you know what? I think a Jimmy John sandwich fits in the bottle holders of most running packs. You could have like 2 Jimmy John sandwiches, 1 in each bottle holder up front. I bet a Jimmy John sandwich could fit in the back pockets of, what do they call them? Jerseys for cycling. Then they got the pockets in the back. I bet you could fit one in there. And it'd be like reaching back for a bottle, but instead of reaching back for like your Martin or your Scratch Labs, you could just reach back for like veggie sandwich, double avocado. Jeff Elliott says, were any of you following the Challenge Miami thing, the try thing? I didn't. I saw that Gwen Jorgensen had tweeted about it, congratulating the winner. And then I saw Lucy Charles tweet about, or she had an Instagram post about it. And I didn't really understand it because I don't understand. I don't really follow cycling at all. But I guess she overtook a lapped cyclist on the wrong side, and there's some sort of penalty. So I'm not sure how that works out. But there was a very, it seemed like, a very rational response to her disappointment. So I felt like maybe there's more nuance to it than I'm picking up, but I felt like this was a very adult way to handle her disappointment. So, I mean, that much I followed. That's bad. Hopefully I didn't give any spoilers away to anybody that was going to watch it later. All right. Matt says, but could I do a mukbang while swimming? Speaking of Lucy Charles, there was one time, I mean, she wasn't doing a mukbang, but one time I was watching a video of her swim training, and I was like, watching this video, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I ever want to do a triathlon, because she was doing like 10,000 meters or something like that in a pool or something ungodly. It seemed like she was in there for hours. And what she would do is like in between every like rep, on the edge of the pool was like a little Tupperware full of gummy bears. And so she would swim, like stuff her mouth full of gummy bears and then just keep swimming. And I was like, wow, what a great way to ruin gummy bears. I just don't, I just didn't find that to be a, but then on the other hand, I was like, oh, that's nice. Like you kind of swim a little bit, you have a little snack. Like if for me, the thing that I would want at the end of the pool, what would you want at the end of the pool? Like if you were like, go 2 lengths, have a little snack or something, go 2 more lengths and just do that. I think what I would want at the end of the pool, because this is what I want whenever I go like swimming or I'm at the lake or at the beach, that kind of thing. I always really want Cool Ranch Doritos. So I think I could do a mukbang. I mean, it wouldn't be like while swimming, unless I was like pushing like a floating bowl and then like swimming, and then every once in a while like taking a chip. But I think like if we did it that way, like I swim out and back, and then like that's probably not what it's called, out and back. That's like a running term. But I'll do an out and back and then like grab a couple of chips and then do another one. I think I could do that. I think that'd be kind of fun. And Jeff Elliott says Lucy Charles Barkley came in second. Was it because of a time penalty? Do you know, or did she like cross the line in second? I got the sense that like maybe she crossed the line first, but she wasn't the actual winner because of that. Yeah. JC said, could you eat a Jimmy John sandwich while swimming? That probably not. I don't know if I could do the Jimmy Johns. But those French bread loaves that they bake are so fluffy. I mean, I don't really consider them French bread. They call them French bread, but I don't think it is. But it's very tasty, very cakey. I like it. Jeff Elliott says, I'm a bad vegan that loves Doritos. Cool Ranch aren't my favorite, but are still great. They're good. They're like, I'm a big fan of the, in our house, we call them blue Doritos or red Doritos, because that's how my girls refer to them, the flavors. I prefer Cool Ranch. Cooler Ranch always seems like there's a lot of inconsistency. Some of the chips are like extra powdered and some have like none at all, it seems like. So I generally feel like Cool Ranch is the more consistent ranch application. So I like that one. But since my daughters have started, like they prefer the nacho cheese, or I guess it's always nacho cheesier. It's never nacho cheese. It's nacho cheesier Doritos. I have, rekindled an affinity for that flavor, the red ones. But my preference is the Cool Ranch. But after a day I've spent like in the water, I definitely want Cool Ranch. Like that's a very, very strong craving. I don't know why. Stevie76 had some car issues. He had to yell, not his car though. He yelled at my neighbor last night for almost running me over during my run in the neighborhood. Dude has a bad habit of running through the stop sign without looking for pedestrian cyclists. Yeah, is that awkward though? Because like the guy too. I yell at cars all the time, but it's like people that don't like live in the neighborhood. Like if I saw the person later, it'd be like, oh hi. Is it like that, or is it like I remember you? That kind of thing. I don't know. Right by the hospital out here, I usually run past the parking garage to get to the park, and even though like the people that park in that parking garage are usually like medical care providers, doctors and nurses and such, and they know that the parking garage is right by the park, and they know that lots of runners are near the exit frequently. They never look like both ways before they pull out, even though there's an easy mirror, so they wouldn't even have to look another way. If they just like looked, a little bit different, they would see the mirror if a runner is coming. But I almost get hit a lot at that, and so like it's just like, come on, guys, you guys just came out of the emergency room where you guys work. Like, no concern about like, maybe being a little bit extra careful. But I understand how it is for a lot of these medical care providers. They probably got caught late after their shift, catching up and helping someone else. And now they're just like racing home because their family's like, why are you so late? So I get the urgency, but yeah, people don't look for pedestrians even when they know that there's pedestrians, and that's frustrating. All right, let's go scroll down a little bit. Shannon says about that car, that was rude. Today a car was flying towards a flashing ped crossing she was crossing, that Shannon was crossing. So I waved for several seconds while crossing, and then it slowed. He honked and I gave the finger. Then I cried. Why did you cry? You were in the right. There's another place that I mean, there's only like 2 places where I encounter cars on my entire run, because I'm very fortunate to be very close to the lakefront, and I just run along the lakefront path. The one is right by that hospital, and the other is I have to cross like an exit ramp from Lakeshore Drive to get into the park. And it's another situation where like the cars have to turn right. So they're only looking left to see if they can turn right on red. And so as I come up to it, I can usually see, even though I've got the green, the walking dude signal, like the walking person, I could see them come down, slow down. They don't want to stop. And their eyes are only looking the other way. And I'm coming from this side. And I can always tell when someone's like, nope, they're going to just blow through it. They're not even going to pretend to stop. They're just going to roll right through this red light, and they're not going to see that there's a runner coming. And so a lot of times, I'll like be running like this, like waving my hands at people and like screaming, because it's like, hey, that's not your turn. It's my turn. I got the right of way here. And so I've definitely had to do that too. And I've just screamed at people, for it. And it's their fault. I mean, they didn't even have a green light, they had a red light, which at best means right on red means you stop first and then turn. But everyone's such a hurry to like get to wherever they're going. And I always feel like when it comes to pedestrians versus cars, cars need to be more careful, because where pedestrians were small and cars are giant, relatively speaking. Well, cars are giant anyway these days. But the other thing being like, like if I have to stop, that's a lot of work for me to get back up to speed. If I'm on a bike, if I'm running, whatever. If a car has to stop for an extra second, that's like a person sitting and still sitting, like foot on the gas, brake, like the relative effort. It's like, come on, all you have to do is continue sitting. It's just in a different position, maybe. But it makes me change my level of energy expenditure if I have to wait for you when it's my turn to go. I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about it. All right. Martha says, when I was growing up in LA, we had a small pool in one house, and our dad would swim laps, and our cat would wait at each end to lick his face. He's the one who fed her. That's really funny. Cats are so strange. I love it. Dee Dee says, French fries on the run sounds totally doable. Here's the thing. How would you hold the French fries, though? You'd have to hold them. Because I'm thinking, like, if you tried to put French fries, I was just trying to envision it, like French fries in like your pack, like your running pack where the bottles would go. Like maybe that would fit, right? Because of the tension in the thing. But I still feel like they would jostle. So that'd be the hard thing. Because otherwise you're holding it like this, but maybe that's okay. I don't know. I think that can work. French fries while running. I do like frequently really crave fatty, salty stuff when I'm on the run. So that'd be good. Ben Browning says, question, are a larger proportion of Canadians in the USA closer to the Canadian border, like Chicago in the old days for work opportunities, or close to the sun and heat to escape Canadian weather? I don't know. Canadians are everywhere. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't know. What I do find is in a lot of vacation places that I've gone to, like spring break, that kind of thing, there's usually there's always a strong like Canadian component. I feel like Canadians are good about taking their vacations. Some Americans are too. I'm terrible at it, but yeah, and which makes sense if it's really cold. But I don't know. It's a good question. Mike House with the super chat for the Fauci fund. Yeah, I don't think it's a matter of like getting money to get Fauci, but I appreciate the support. And yeah, maybe we get Fauci on here. I hope so. I hope it happens. DD says someone should invent a container to hold French fries in the front flask pocket. You know what's something that's very weird going on Twitter? I love Twitter because you can reply in GIFs, and I just love to do that. I frequently I reply only in GIF. I don't put any text to it. I just reply with the GIF, which I'm glad there isn't some sort of like you must have text requirement or something dumb like that. So the one GIF that doesn't seem to work anymore is there's a clip from The Office, and I don't remember this episode because I watched The Office for a while, and then after a while I kind of like lost interest. But there's a clip of Stanley with like basically it looks like a running pack, but it holds a slice of pizza inside. And the GIF is him taking like unzipping it, taking a slice of pizza out, taking a bite, and putting it back in like this front loaded carrier. And I love using that one. I refer to it frequently, but lately I could still find that GIF, but every time I try to tweet using that GIF, it won't let me use it anymore. I don't know what's going on with that. It like says like there's some sort of error, and it asks me if I want to save it as a draft, but it won't ever let me post it. Other things I can post, but it just won't let me post that. So I think there's something up with that GIF. I don't know why. It's crazy. Recycle on Wednesday says, on topic book recommendation, Traffic by Tom Vanderbilt. My library only had audio, and it worked pretty well in that format. Interesting. There was a time where I was consuming a lot of content about traffic, like traffic flow theory, like civil engineering, that kind of thing. This was back when I lived in St. Louis, where I was like, this is not a densely populated city. There aren't that many people that are here. Yet why is there such bad traffic? There seems to be like an inordinately bad amount of traffic for the amount of people in this city. And so that's when I got and I was commuting for work. And so I was like, there has to be a reason for this. Why is this like this? I hate this. So I don't know if I've ever read that one, but I spent a lot of time thinking about it. There's like a major like center for study of like traffic is in Northwestern, just up the street a little bit. I know that because I've had to look up traffic and congestion like experts through the course of work, but it's a side topic as well. But yeah, I'll have to look that up. Traffic. I don't know why, but I just love the idea of like, I guess, flow in that way. Stevie76 says, I wear high-vis everything at night. Might get those battery-powered vests that lights you up like a Christmas tree. Yeah. I mean, that would definitely work. I mean, I usually see, I think, yeah, there's two things. Like one, I like, who was it? Was it Chase the Summit that put a good video about it? And he's like, there's two kinds of visibility. One is like for other people to see you, and one is for you to see. And so I usually like primarily rely on the headlamp. But then I was like, oh, if there's people behind me, I want them to be able to see me. And I always assumed that my headlamp would be visible, but maybe it's not. But I was thinking, Stevie, for you, if it's not bright out, maybe it's, I mean, if the guy's just rolling through that stoplight all the time anyway, maybe like lights and visibility isn't going to help you. But one of the things that I frequently do when I'm wearing the headlamp and I see cars is I'll shake my head like right at the driver's side window, because I'm like, that's got to catch their attention if I do it that way. So that's kind of like been my theory. Carl J says about drivers, I stopped flicking off horrible drivers. Don't want to flip up the wrong person like the guy in the movie Falling Down. Yeah. There's a movie that my daughter really likes. It stars, I forget her name. She was one of the co-stars in the Descendants movie trilogy. And then they gave her own movie where she's an aspiring ballerina. and she doesn't flick off a driver, but she's late for an audition, and she steals an old lady's cab as she's it's raining and it's hard to get a cab and she's running late, and she kind of like almost shoves this woman out of the way and hops in her cab. She's like, sorry, I gotta go. And then she gets to the audition, and the lady who's in charge, like the director of this performance, is the lady that she cut in front of and like shoved out of the way and was rude to. So yeah, it's a popular theme in movies, but I think that one lady in that Disney movie simply ruined that girl's career. Falling down, that's a whole. I think is Falling Down a movie that people still watch? I feel like that movie is just like universally applicable, right? Right? It's relatable. Maybe I need to watch it again. I just feel like that movie is very relatable. There was a time where I was like, if I had a falling down moment, my suitcase, what would my briefcase have in it? What would be in your briefcase, Carl? If you had a falling down moment, mine would be a pack of cinnamon. That's what would be in my briefcase. Do you remember that part where someone like tries to steal his briefcase and he's like, give me that briefcase. I need the briefcase. And inside the briefcase was only an apple. Hope I'm not spoiling the movie, but that movie is like 20 years old. So if you haven't seen it by now. Yeah. Scott Allison says, as far as like being lit up like a Christmas tree at night, he says, I swear by Knox gear for being lit up like a Christmas tree at night. I'm not familiar with Knox gear. I'll have to look at that. James Cool says, ever be about being too lit up at night, like how drunk drivers run into cop cars because they get attracted to the flashy lights? Is that a thing? Is that true? I didn't know that was a thing. Really? Huh. I've never heard of that before. That's very strange. Christopher Rochelle says, I was running with a buddy once, and a car turned in front of us when we were crossing the street, and he slapped the car and yelled, we have rights. I just stopped running due to laughter. Yeah. I've done that before at that parking garage I was telling you about. Yeah. There was a guy pulling out, and like there were two runners. There was someone else who was a step ahead of me, and I was like kind of overtaking, and she stopped, and then I just kept going because I had the right of way, because he's coming out of a driveway and turning, right? So I certainly have the right of way. And the guy got so close to me that I just put my hands down on the lid, or like the hood, and I was just like, I just slammed the car. I didn't say anything, but I just like slapped the car, because I'm like, if I'm this close to you, there's a problem. You know, I didn't say that, but yeah. Yeah. And then I looked back, and both the driver and the girl looked at me like I was a crazy person. And I'm like, maybe I overreact a little bit, but I just feel like, I don't know. I'm the one that almost got hit by a car, guys. So I feel like my reaction, whatever it is a valid one. Well, I mean, within reason, I suppose. But yeah. Frank Lillard says, drivers turning right only look to the left and will run you over from a stop when you're straight in front of them if you're crossing from right to left. I agree. It's that kind of like, I'm looking this way and going that way thing, where you're like looking the wrong, like in the other direction, because you're only worried about cars that might hit you. They totally will. And so like, it's something that I've learned that like, I tell this to my kids all the time, because they've been saying the same thing. They're like, that car needs to stop, Daddy, because it's our turn. And I'm like, you're absolutely right. But it doesn't matter how right you are. If you got hit by a car, you're still going to get hurt. And I don't want you to get hurt. So that's kind of like my point to it. It's not fair that I have to be more careful than the driver. But the reality is like, I have to be extra, extra careful for other people's lack of care. That's how I try to live. But, doesn't mean it's not frustrating when people are irresponsible, All right. Sean Marshall says, talking running at night, headlamp, of course, but also recommend blinking bicycle lights. Should make some, and I just loop one on my finger like a ring. I don't know if it's Schwinn. I think it's actually Nathan. I have a Nathan red light that's like a clip light. It like clips onto a belt or something that I will put on the back of my, if I'm wearing a pack at night, I'll just clip it onto like kind of like where like the neck is on my running pack or just somewhere on the back. And you could set it to either solid red or blinking red. And I do feel like the flashing kind of catches people's eye. And it's all about just catching the eye is my big thing. So that's something that I sometimes do. I probably don't wear it nearly enough. If I'm wearing a headlamp, which I usually am when I'm wearing that, I'll sometimes put it on the back of the headlamp thing, the elastic. So I have like the light up front and then the blinking light in the back. But yeah, I typically don't wear lights when I'm running in Chicago, just because it's usually lit where I am. But in Iowa, I have to wear a headlamp every day. Sarah Mim says, I looked on iTunes today. The book co-recommend mentioned about Ethiopian running shows $16.99. I know I'm paying for audiobook, but I thought an audiobook would be cheaper since it isn't printed. Yeah, you would think, right? But it isn't. You know, it's the cost of consumption, I guess, is how they're seeing it. Yeah. I mean, like on the one hand, like I understand, like with the print, you know, you're getting something that you could keep forever. You could put it on a shelf, you can highlight it, you can fold the pages, you know, you can put tabs in it, whatever you want to do. The audiobook is harder to kind of like do that too, because you can only like listen to it and like maybe timestamp it, you know, somehow. But I think like part of that is like, well, we have to pay for production, someone to read it, and then someone to edit that and put that all together and package it, and it's like a separate distribution, I guess. So I think that's the rationale. And I also think that just like that's what it costs. I don't know what the book costs in paperback, if it's in paperback yet, but I think it's unfortunate. I do think it should be cheaper because the distribution is, you know, they don't have to warehouse it. They don't have to, you know, front the money for printing costs. You know, there's no risk, you know, so I do think it should be cheaper. I'm having a hard time. I think if I don't look at the camera in a while, it loses my eyes. And that's why I think I get soft. Sorry about that, guys. As far as soft focus. Louis Becerra says, my grandma always said to me, assume that all drivers are super, and then a red face emoji. Yes, in those words. Bless her soul. That's kind of a good way to think about it too. Yeah, Frank LaHullier says about the audiobook, you have to pay for the performance on top of the book. That's kind of what I was thinking. And Carlos Rivera says, no more headlamps for me after we spring forward tonight. Is that what it is? Wait. I'm trying to think. I have a hard time always like, it's going to be an hour ahead. So 5 o'clock will actually be like 6 o'clock. Yeah. So does that mean the sunrise is relatively earlier for me then? I thought it was going to be the other way around. Either way, I don't know. I don't like daylight savings. I think we should get rid of it. I don't think we need it anymore. Sean Marshall says, my new recovery house shoes are Birkenstocks. My high school self and my archers both rejoice together in crunchy hippie unison. That's funny. Are they coming back? Is that a thing, or is that you're just trying to revive them? You're making the play for them. Is that it? You know what? I don't think I've ever had Birks before. I think I had other like sandals that looked like them before, but I don't think I've actually had Birkenstocks. Yeah, I don't think I have. Jeff Elliott says, I want to do more cycling on the road, but I'm terrified of being killed by someone on their phone. Yeah, I think that like that's a big thing for me too, at least in Chicago, that I'm worried about is like riding a bike on the road. It just seems terrifying. Everyone that I know that rides a bike regularly in Chicago has like that time I got hit by a car story, and it makes me very scared. By the lakefront, lots of bikes. I like that. I could do that. And I've ridden bikes on the road before. Plenty of times I've commuted by bike. But, you know, I think you have all the dangers of running on the road in terms of like the cars just aren't looking for you and don't see you, but you're just doing it much faster. But that being said, like when we were out there walking with the girls along the lakefront, there was a lot of bikes out there moving really fast today. And I thought it was cool. It's nice to see. But man, they were moving. Frank says, this is not a weekend where I need to lose an hour. I saw something going around on Twitter saying, like, why can't the hour jump happen at 3:30 on a Friday? Which makes a lot more sense. I think it'd be hard because then it'd be one of those things where that reminds me of is like, what did they say? Like, so it was in Parks and Rec when someone scheduled all of Ron Swanson's meetings to like a certain day and a time that they thought would never happen. And then one year, like 12 years out, some weird fluke of the calendar, that date and time happened and all these people were there and he had to have all these meetings. But yeah, it'd be like if it happened at 3:30 on a Friday and then it jumped to 4:30, you could set all your meetings for 4 o'clock Friday on daylight savings time day. That'd be funny. Martha says, my nieces who are in their 30s wear Birks, so they're kind of eternally popular in some demographics. Well, that's good to know. I mean, I feel like it's a classic silhouette, as they would say, right? By some people, they say in like the fashion industry. So yeah. And it says, so the USA goes into summertime 2 weeks before the UK. I don't know about summertime, but I found this out for the first time. I think it was the end of, is it the start of daylight savings or I'm not sure which one it is, but in the fall when I think I was trying to schedule something with either Andy or Ed Bud. And it was like, wait, you guys aren't in daylight? You guys already did daylight savings or something like that? It was something where it was off. So one of us was off by 2 weeks. So I didn't know that it was consistently like that. But yeah, that's the first time I realized that there was a difference. That it wasn't like everyone around the world all goes at the same time. Yeah, yet another reason why like we should just get rid of this weird kind of like thing that we do. Steve Ironberg says, what's going on, Steve? First run in the Glycerin 19. I like them much more than the 1080 V10. Really? Nicely cushioned without feeling too soft. Oh, interesting. I ran in the Glycerin, was it the 18? Yeah, because then the new one's a 19, right? And the last one here was the 18. I thought it was okay. I was expecting more from it, though. I just felt like it felt like a Ghost, to be honest. I'm not sure I could tell the difference between a Ghost and a Glycerin running in them. And I was expecting like Bondi like cushion in it, but I didn't quite get that. So I don't know. Maybe they Brooks isn't really known for like massively changing their shoes from model year to model year, but maybe there's been some changes. Maybe I need to take a look at that. All right, Dominic Smirnowski says, kofuzi, I recently recovered from a runner's knee. Not sure if my next training block should be for a 5K or a half marathon, in parentheses, more speed work or high pace in the 5K training. Any recommendation? Yeah. Well, congratulations on getting back from the runner's knee. And I know that takes a while and it's frustrating. But I think that, I don't think that it makes a huge difference in terms of like what's better for the knee necessarily. But in either event, like you're gonna need to like kind of ease into the training or a little bit, or I wouldn't go like full bore right away, unless like you're confident that like you're past the condition long enough where you're ready to take on a full training plan in either event. But for me, what I liked doing was kind of like, I felt like with the runner's knee, I was losing a lot of both distance and intensity. And so I was like, I need kind of a reset. And so I did look to some shorter, like mini blocks of training, because usually a 5K training block, when I look at them, they're not as long as like a half marathon training block. And so like a shorter training block to kind of jumpstart things, kind of set tone in a bit. So like it was more about mental for me than it was about physical, although there was a physical component to it for sure. So that's kind of like how I looked at it. But I don't have a very strong opinion on it without knowing like what are some of your more long-term goals, that kind of thing. So Yeah. Affluent Journey says people are hit and killed at Key Biscayne all the time. Yeah, the city of Chicago publishes a report every year about like the most dangerous intersections for like motor vehicle versus pedestrian accidents. And so, yeah, that's a report that is always surprising and not surprising to read at the same time in terms of where people are getting hit and run over. I remember one time I had an office on Madison, really close to like the numerical center of the city, as far as like, you know, the streets are numbered like north and south. They go up by hundreds. Same thing with east and west. I was almost at like 0, 0. And right around there was a very dangerous pedestrian intersection. And on one of the garbage cans by the intersection, they had posted like an advertisement. And the advertisement was about like pedestrian safety. Like pedestrians should be careful, and motorists should also be careful when making turns. And that intersection happened to be a particularly busy intersection. And there was one time I was like just on a phone call, standing up, like looking out the window. And I saw a person get hit by a car turning and not paying attention enough. And the person ending up like lying down on the ground right next to the garbage can. The person wasn't that hurt. They were able to like sit up. I think an ambulance did take them away, but like it didn't look like they didn't get like creamed by the car. But like, I mean, there could have been other injuries, but as far visibly, it didn't, you know, seem like it was that bad. But like the irony of like them getting hit by a car and like getting laid out on the ground right by the sign saying like, you don't want to get hit by a car is kind of crazy. And I would hear it a lot. Like I would hear like people screaming at cars, or like cars honking. Sometimes I would hear like, you know, cars screeching their wheels to brake real fast, that kind of thing. At that intersection, it was really crazy. Jody says, in Queensland, we don't have daylight savings. Whilst it sounds nice not to have to change clocks twice a year, we miss out on having the extra hour in the evenings daylight to spend outside with family. That's true, but I mean, it's not like you're not getting it. It's at a different time of year, right? Because like you still get that. Because there's a part of the year where we miss an extra hour, where it gets darker earlier, faster. So it's like I think you're not missing out on anything, Jody. And it's not about changing the clock. I mean, this is the time of year where everyone trots out like the stories and the blog posts about how like, you know, how bad daylight savings is for kids in terms of their sleep schedules and adults and productivity and offices and all that kind of stuff. And I think I was listening to I think it was a Rich Roll podcast when he had someone that was talking about sleep. And he's saying like twice a year, we do a massive global experiment on the effect of just an hour less sleep and what it does to our safety, our productivity, you know, just the way we function. And it goes to show you how sensitive our bodies are to even just an hour more or less of sleep. And he's like, it's called daylight savings. So like, it's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah, I think it's bad for everybody. I don't know who wins from daylight savings. That's the thing that I'm pulling away from it. Cause like, yeah, like you're saying, Jody, it is nice to have the extra hour with family, and like my girls are excited, to have more daylight time, but it's just like, you're just taking it, you're getting it one place, but you took it away from somewhere else. That's how I think of it. Steve Hamburg says, bikers are not as friendly as runners. They do not like those of us who sometimes run in the bike lane. That's true. That's true. Bicyclists can be grumpy when runners are in the bike lane. There's a section of the lakefront path here where it's split. There's a bicyclist section and a runner section. And the runner/pedestrian section is closer to the water. But the city has closed off that part because that part usually takes a beating from the weather, especially during the winter. And this year they did like all sorts of protective measures to like protect kind of like that coastline and also the trail, that part of the path that's there. And so runners have to go up to the bicycle part, the part that's normally bicycling only. And with the weather getting warmer, there have been cyclists coming back to the trail, and I don't think they've clearly not been back since last winter, since these like protective measures have been set up, like these environmental protective measures have been set up, because there's been bicycles that are like have been like growling at me as they've been like whizzing by, because I'm a runner on the bike part, and I'm just like, welcome back. I hope you enjoy your first ride back on the lakefront after the last 6 months. So have a great ride. That's kind of how I feel about it. But, I can understand their frustration because, they're moving at a great rate of speed in a place where they're supposed to and allowed to work, to be operating at a great rate of speed. And, cyclists and pedestrians, especially a pedestrian like me who's got a selfie stick, who's like winging it around, can be kind of terrifying for a cyclist, I can imagine. So, yeah, I can understand where they're coming from, for sure. And I also think that it's just when I'm on a bike, when I was like bike commuting a lot, I don't know, it's easy to get that like road rage. I think it's hard to have road rage when you're running because you're just out of breath, But I think on a bicycle, it's easier to have that road rage. But I also feel like on the bicycle, you're just getting aggrieved that much more. It seems like you just get kind of like constantly getting pooped on, in a way of speaking, So I can understand it. And Ted and Ruth wants to know, what are the U.S. laws regarding mobile phone use while driving? For the most part, they're state by state and they vary. But at this point, they're all pretty unified that you shouldn't be using the phone, holding the phone while driving, shouldn't be texting while driving. But do people still do it all the time, especially in rural Iowa? Oh, all the time people are on it. What's funny is, when I was in rural Iowa and running around, I always would try to like film the tractors and like the giant farm equipment that would pass me as I was running, or if I was passing it. Usually they're passing me. But like a lot of the time, there'll be someone in a giant tractor on the road, like driving a tractor with wheels, tires taller than me. A giant tractor on the road. It's a dirt road in farm country. So like they're where they're supposed to be, but still they're on the road on a phone at the same time. I'm like, if there's ever a time to be like extra careful about not texting and driving, when you're driving the tractor is probably the time. But, we've gone a little bit long. Camera, we're about to lose the camera here. That's a good sign. Let me switch over to the other camera real quick. The other camera overheated. So here we are. There we go. But yeah, so people still do it a lot. I mean, even in Chicago, it's not just a rural thing. Even in Chicago, people do it all the time. People do the thing where they hold the phone link to their mouth while they're talking, and then they'll like look at it and stuff too. So like people are pretty terrible about it in the U.S. But there are technically laws against it. I think in most states. I think that's pretty universal. All right, let's do one more, and then I gotta get going. Stefan F. We'll do this one, and I gotta get going for a day. Stefan F says, Kofuzi, did you know the Nagoya Marathon is being held today, kicking off in around 2.5 hours? And 62-year-old Mariko Yugeta is trying to better that 2 hours and 52 minute, 13 second, 60 plus world record she set in Osaka in January? I did not know that. That's cool. I wonder, are there going to be spectators allowed at this event? How is this event being held? Because I think the Olympics announced that they weren't going to have any spectators, right? So it's amazing. I don't know that's very different in terms of like the kind of people that they would anticipate visiting for the Nagoya Marathon versus like the Olympics. But it seems a little bit inconsistent, but I can understand. But that's totally cool. That's amazing. 62 years old and at 2:52. That's fast. And that's fast anytime. By 52 and 62 and doing that fast. There's times where I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever get under 3 hours. And I think maybe my window is closed. But then I'm like, I don't know. There's people doing it. And then I'm like, yeah, but those people are probably a little bit more genetically gifted than I am. Maybe they came to running later in life, But then I'm like, no. I'm just going to use her example as inspiration and go for it. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be able to. I don't know if there's going to be any way that I can see the Nagoya Marathon, but I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for that. Thanks, Devin. All right. That's going to be it for today, guys. Tomorrow morning, we'll do a video. It's going to be another workout video talking about one of the last workouts I'll be doing before the Shamrock Shuffle. It'll be from the workout I did today. 6 times 6 minutes, not mile repeats, but 6-minute repeats at threshold pace with just a minute rest. Finally getting to do that workout that I had to cut short that last time. And then we'll do another live stream in the afternoon, 3 p.m. Central. Hopefully I'll see you guys then. In the meantime, be safe out there, everybody. Thanks.